We are live. Welcome to Power Punchers episode 3. Trace. Shout out to everybody catching this live, catching the archives. Hit the comments below. Saludos, A-Rod, boxing in the chat. Hit that like button as y'all come in. Hit that like button as you come in. Introduce yourself in the chat. We got a good episode tonight. Going to talk a lot of things. Tank, Canelo, Donaire versus Casimero falling apart, etc., etc. We're going to talk about Power Punchers. We got a lot of good things. Catch the first 2 podcasts of Power Punchers. You can catch it on the playlist on my channel. I got the playlist up there on the channel, all that good stuff. I'm here, joined as always by one half of the HCP.
What's going on, brother?
What's going on, D-Style?
Hey, I'm doing great. You know, I'm enjoying myself a little bit, having a tecate, you know what I mean, and wearing my HCP T-shirt. I mean, what can I say? You know what I mean? Hey, Blue Moon's good too. Blue Moon grew on me, but
I got some Blue Moon. I don't have any orange to screw in to squeeze into it.
With no orange to have it with, you know.
Shout out to No Pal. Shout out to Run PMC. Blue Moon is what was playing for Ricky Hatton's entrance before he was planked by Manny Pacquiao, which I showed in the in that intro, by the way. That Paul Williams plank was nasty. You look at that that picture, that's a nasty still shot. But let's hop right into this. Speaking of power punchers, we had some stoppages this past weekend. We had some stoppages, all right? So we're going to hop into this. What was your power punch of the week? What was your knockout of the week? Your power puncher of the week? Who is it?
Cuba Stand Up Fox. 2 million viewers watched it. He knocked out Casares, the conqueror of Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He knocked him out in one round in spectacular fashion, 168 pounds. You've been put on notice. Okay, this is a clear-cut top 10 guy. I think he solidified himself as top 8, top 7 in that division. It's hot. Cubano, David Morel, a Hispanic causing panic of the week right there. Knockout of the week, possibly knockout of the year. Casares took some big ones from Chavez Jr. Didn't go anywhere. This guy took him out in one round.
And by the way, that did 1.4 million live viewers. Should we have boxing on Sundays, D-Style, when
I heard it did 2 million.
Is not in season? Huh?
I heard it did 2 million.
Yeah, whatever it was, man, it's a lot. All right, so we should have boxing on Sundays when
with
football season is not in season.
With a caveat.
Okay.
Good boxing should be on network TV on any day, but yes, Sundays works. Especially football season is not that long, bro. It's only like 17 weeks in the NFL. You know, add a couple more weeks there with college and the playoffs. You have over half a year with Sundays.
February to August, D-Style, you got it. Sunday. And these are dudes that are not big names. I mean, fun fights, but not big names. Okay, so solid viewership.
Give those guys that like to watch a gladiatorial sport like football, right? Give them their fix with some boxing, another gladiatorial sport. More of a gladiatorial sport in my mind. You know what I mean? So I say, yeah. And by the way, great night of action, and it was on free TV. That's what we need. That's what we need. And guess what? I guarantee you they didn't pay any of these guys what they paid Kata Plant, okay, to give people the cure for insomnia a couple of weeks ago or months.
That's right. And we'll get into this, Rachel Donaire, later on in the show. We'll definitely get into that. Shout out to G Funky, the other half of the HCP. No Paul in the building, Master Kush in the building. You know, hit that like button as y'all come in. And my power puncher of the week is Erickson Lubin. Man. Rosario, this was close to a toss-up fight. I saw people picking Rosario coming in. You know, it was Erickson Lubin was a 2-1 favorite, but pretty close to even odds in this fight. And he did his thing, middle round stoppage, heavy puncher with both hands. And this guy has run off, 6 straight fights since the lost to Charlo 3 or 4 years ago when he was a puppy, 21 years old. So he's edged himself to a Charlo rematch. We'll see if he gets that rematch, but he's my power puncher of the week, man. The guy has power, pop in both hands, so good for him in getting that. So let's segue into another power puncher, but a historic power puncher. And this is a segment we're going to run on this show every week from now on. And I'll have a poll up each week. So look, in the comment section, I want y'all to put a knockout that you love, historical knockout. And I'll put it in the poll to vote on. This one right now that we're going to talk about, this happened 33 years ago, almost to the day. Michael Spinks knocked out in 91 seconds by Mike Tyson. And shout out to Mike Tyson on his 55th birthday today. So we got to show love to one of the greatest power punchers of all time, Mike Tyson. Where were you? Do you remember as a young tot? You might be too young. I was 7 years old. I was a young tot sitting in my grandpa's living room, watching on a small screen with about 30 of my uncle's friends, my uncle and a bunch of his friends, and my dad.
It was this big, and the TV was like this big, right?
That's right. And I remember watching it, and this is the first memory I have of boxing. The first memory I have of boxing was watching Mike Tyson knock out Michael Spinks in 91 seconds. And I remember it running through my head like, man, everybody was so excited. But at the same time, I have to be honest, it was like I thought to myself, man, that was so quick. That happened so quick. It was almost like kind of anticlimactic to me that it happened so quick. It was such a big buildup for 91 seconds. So what are your do you have any memories of it?
No, man, to be honest with you, my memory is a little sketchy of that fight. Like, I'll be a liar if I told you I totally remember it. But obviously, growing up as a boxing fan, you learn about the fight, and of course, that image of fear in the eyes of Spinks before, during, and after the fight is always in my mind. Because people need to remember, yes, he won all the belts, but you still have those boxing purists that insist, no, it's not about the belts. It's about the man beating the man, and the man was Spinks.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, did Tyson say, okay, fine, and got him out of there quick. People don't realize how big of a win that was, how significant of a fight that was. And, yeah, I'll never forget Spinks looking up like, I just, this is a guy that fought, Larry Holmes, bro. You know what I mean? Yet when he looked up at Tyson, it's like I don't want to see a fighter scared, man, but man, oh man, I'm just saying. He wasn't scared. He was worried. How about that? He was a little worried about being in the ring with Iron Mike.
I think he was scared. I think he was very concerned, very scared for his health, and he had every right to be, man. Tyson was just laying guys out at that point. And to do it in 91 seconds, went downstairs, went upstairs, caught him with shots, and ended the job. And that was Tyson. That was really, looking back at it, Tyson at his peak, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
So Tyson at a young age, June 27, 1988, New Jersey, did his thing against Michael Spinks. So shout out to the historic power punch knockout of the week. And hit us up in the comment section or below in the archives. What historic knockout do you want us to speak about? One that comes to mind for me is Sergio Martinez knocking out Paul Williams. We have Julian Jackson over Terry Norris. We have all kind of historic knockouts that we could talk about. So you can hit us up on Twitter in the comment section, and we'll put it up in the poll, and we'll talk about another one next week. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hit that like button. Alice150, what up? What up? What up? What up? Now let's move on to another heavyweight, a current heavyweight, Deontay Wilder. We all saw the video that went viral yesterday, and we don't have to talk about this too much, but it was funny to me because I knew the Gym Bros were going to tear it apart, and the Gym Bros did tear it apart. Deontay Wilder thought it was a good idea to post himself. He thought it would be an intimidating video to post himself bench pressing 300 pounds. The problem is he had a spotter on both sides holding the weight. His back went off of the bench, which you're not supposed to do. It's not an official 300-pound bench press. But I throw all this out there because to me, this shows that he's really in charge of his training camp. A real strength and conditioning coach doesn't allow stuff like that to happen. You can injure yourself doing stuff like that.
Of course.
So to me, I wonder, watching videos like this, who's in charge of that training camp? Do you think that Deontay Wilder is in charge of the training camp? Do you think he's the head coach and the fighter? Do you think it's Bill Russell here, the head coach and the main player?
Oh man, no, I do think he's taking direction from Malik Scott. Okay, I do. I do think him and Malik have been friends for a while. You know, some people believe that that's why maybe he kind of, you know, foul after his glove hit the gloves, but that is what it is. Yeah, but I will say, man, I just think that as far as the bench press goes, look, I'm not an expert on this stuff, but what I will say is, though, that's a lot of weight, for a guy with long arms like that. Isn't that a lot of weight for a dude with long arms?
Yeah.
And also, it's not really that efficient. Like, it doesn't make sense for a boxer to be bench pressing a lot of weight like that. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't. Like you want more oxygen, in your arms. You don't. That's why weightlifters punch so slow, and they're not efficient punchers like that. They might be strong as fuck, but they're just, if that was the case, every weightlifter in the world would be heavyweight champion of the world. But we know what happens when they step into a boxing ring. It doesn't work that way. He was doing this, here's what caught my eye, Alex. He was responding to something Fury said. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, why didn't you respond to him when you were right there in the ring with him, in the words of Chris Colbert? Sucker. When it was in your face, why didn't you say anything? You have everything to say. All of a sudden, you have all these things to say when you're not in the same room. Right?
Right.
He said, I'm going to run you over like a semi. He said, I'm going to run you over like a train. And then you fail at a bench press. I mean, I don't know if that's a good message. Plus, Calix, this was the final cut. What about all the cuts where he didn't look so good bench pressing it? They expect me to believe that this was the only one they did? I don't know, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to be smart with the weight training before a fight. I'm not sure what exactly he's trying to do. Is he trying to come in lean? Is he trying to come in heavy? He came in lean for the first fight. Fury came in big. So I don't know if he's trying to beef up a little bit. But Mackie Shilstone from down here in New Orleans, who trained Spinks before the Ali fight, who trained Roy Jones before the John Ruiz fight, who trained Bernard Hopkins before the Antonio Tarver fight. He knows how to put on weight on fighters in a smart way without them losing energy during a fight, without them being over muscular. He's putting it in the right spots. He puts it in the forearm. One thing they do not do is put it in the legs, which for Deontay Wilder, he has small legs anyway, so I'm not going to burn energy there. So you have to be smart on how you're putting in weight. I'm not sure how smart this is. Like you said, I'm not an expert. Mackie Shilstone is a guy that is on my bucket list to interview one day on how he does this, on training fighters to build muscle and not lose any energy, not lose any aerobic energy in the ring, not lose any.
I mean, that's the question, isn't that? That's like the challenge. Like how much can you lift before it becomes inefficient as a boxer, right? But what's the optimum weight? It'll be interesting to hear from him for sure.
Right, and 310 isn't heavy for that. So I think he was trying to bench press 300, but long arms, it is tough to bench with a long arm. I don't want to get too technical into the bench press. For me, it seemed like more of a mind thing. He just, it seems to me like he's in charge of that training camp. He's the head coach of that training camp. I wonder, with a video like that, with so much technically going wrong that he posted, who's his strength and conditioning coach? What's going on there? So I worry about that for Wilder. That's why I brought up the video, but it is what it is. Hit that like button as y'all come in. We'll talk more about Wilder as this fight gets closer, but I want to talk.
Do you think there were I mean, typically the spotter should be right behind you,
right? And
it should be there just in case you can't lift it no more, obviously for safety reasons. Mm-hmm. It looked to me like they were helping a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's how it looked like to me.
It's not an official bench press unless if somebody touches it before you extend your elbow. And you're not supposed to pick your back up off the bench either. You can just hurt yourself that way too. Yeah, right? You can get injured, and that's not official either. So much going on wrong with that video. which I just wanted to bring up. But
Dillian White bench pressed the same amount, I heard.
Who does?
Dillian White said he benched that same amount. He did like twice or something. It said he ain't shit or something like that. But Dillian White, if you look at just by looking at them, it's not surprising that Dillian White could bench press more.
No,
just by looking at him.
Not at all. He has much more of a body for stuff like that. Donaire versus Casimero. Canceled, according to Donaire. What is going on with this? What is going on with this? I hear VADA testing. I hear some things said about Rachel Donaire, who is the manager, wife/manager. What do you make of this whole saga? And this is after Rigo versus Casimero. Rigo takes step-aside money. So Donaire versus Casimero could happen. And then now we have this.
Hey, if I'm Rigo, I'm like, give me that step. I'm going to keep the step-aside. Hey, but you still want to fight? If I'm Rigo, I'm winning. You know what I mean? But here's what I'll say. I think what it is, it wasn't really about, like, it doesn't excuse it, but I think from what I understand, it was said that Casimero told, and if I'm wrong, but, and anyone who knows a lot more about this in the chat can let us know, but Casimero had told Rachel Donaire to suck my dick, right?
I think the manager.
Okay, maybe the manager, but I think it had to do with the fact that she's the one that handles the, you know, it was somebody else handling Donaire stuff. They might have said the same thing, you know. But here's my thing, bro. If that's true, right? Don't you want to whoop his ass?
Yeah.
Like you would, like, you know what I mean? You could legally beat him up in a boxing ring, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm reading too much into it. Like, I get maybe Donaire's looking at it from another perspective. Like, you know what? I don't want to do business with somebody like that or whatever. But, you know, go whoop his ass, bro. Like, Durant said way worse things about Leonard's wife.
Yeah.
Leonard got in the ring with him. You know what I mean? Fought a stupid fight, but he got in the ring with him. I mean, I'm just saying.
I can see both sides of it. You know what came to my mind right away was Mayorga versus Mosley. And Mayorga did the same thing to De La Hoya. He said stuff about De La Hoya's wife, and De La Hoya still went in the ring with Mayorga.
Here's like
Mayorga said some awful things. Awful things.
Well, just to defend Mayorga a little bit, Mayorga never said things about the wives. What he would say would be things like, I really hope your wife loves you, because after I disfigure your face, she may never look at you the same. Like, he would say stuff like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and then the Mosley thing, like, he immediately came out and said Mosley told him to do it to sell the fight.
Did he?
That he said, he's like the reporters got on him about it. Like, why did you do that? Like, Mosley told me. Mosley wanted me to do it so we could sell the fight. I'm just saying. Like, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if that's true. But when that happened, and this is exactly what happened right here, he slapped Mosley's wife's ass in the second fight. They had a few, yeah. And what happened, and that was during the weigh-in or a press conference, whatever it was. When that happened, I said to myself, I wouldn't fight that guy. I would have fought him right there, and then I would have called off the fight, because I wouldn't want that guy to get money off of me after doing something like that. But I would have fought him right there. That's the difference. I would have fought him unofficially and then said, hey, what? You're not going to get your bag. That's just me. So I can see both sides of this. I can see the other side of it, where fight the guy, beat him officially, beat him up in the ring. So I can understand that part too. And I can understand both sides of this. I can understand the man taking up for his wife and saying, you know what? We're not doing this. The VADA testing, to me, they officially signed up for the VADA testing after the deadline, after all this went down. So I don't know how much of the VADA testing came into play. You know me, I don't care about drug testing, VADA, WADA, USADA, DADA, BADA. I don't care what they use as long as the fight happens.
USADA, remember USADA, the Russian
USADA, all that stuff. One thing I'll say about Donaire is he's been consistent in that he's the only fighter, to my knowledge, who comes out of his pocket for the VADA testing and has consistently done it for years and years and years. So he's not just talking a big game, he's doing it. So at least he's consistent with that. I don't care about that part of it. The Rachel Donaire thing, to me, as a husband, I could say, you know what? I wouldn't want to do business with this guy. I would understand where he's coming from as a husband, but at the same time, she's also a manager, right?
Right.
She's not just the wife. So
True.
when you're the manager, you have to have a thicker skin, right? You're in the boxing world. You're in the boxing world, which isn't.
Well, she's not the one pulling
easy.
out. He is, though. For all we know, she's probably talking shit back. For all we know, right?
Right. The live video they did, they were talking trash back and forth. And I think this started with Memo Heredia too. Memo Heredia is a guy who was popped with the whole Balco thing, and he's
Who's
caught
Memo
a lot of
working
allegations. Memo Heredia is with Casimero.
Okay. Well,
So
I mean, I can understand like the whole
that.
like let's do the testing thing, you know, but why didn't they take care of this before they asked Rigo to take step aside money?
Yes.
That's my thing, you know?
I'm seeing a lot of this. I'm seeing a lot of Rachel being the Yoko Ono of the of this Donaire Casimero thing.
Because you know what? All she's doing is trying to enforce every Donaire fight, they have the same conditions for everybody. You know what I mean? And she's just making sure that that's what they do here. So like I don't, you know, and she obviously she's doing her job as a manager. I mean, and the fact that it's her husband, maybe she works that much harder for it. But you know, obviously, you know, but I think she's done a great job so far. And if for any reason Casimero is having any reservations about the testing or anything, the fact that you're working with Memo does raise a red flag. I'm sorry, you know.
I think that Donaire works with Conti too, which also.
Plus, does Donaire need Casimero when he has an in-a-way rematch right there?
That's what I was going to bring up. Do you think that there's something else at play here? Do you think that Bob Arum's in Donaire's ear, like, hey, let's find a way out of this fight. We got in-a-way here already. We can get a big payday. Although Casimero's the easier fight, big payday for in-a-way. The time is now. You're 38 and a half years old. Let's just get to the in-a-way fight now.
You're 38 years old. Let's just do the fight with in-a-way. Let's do it. Like, I mean, I mean, maybe. I don't know if Bob Arum's involved. Now you got me thinking, but I don't know if Bob's behind the scenes pulling strings or what, but I don't know, man. I just don't know. I just hope my guy, you know what I hope? I hope Rigondeaux gets that double pay. He already got free money, and then he's going to get the fight anyway, right? Mm-hmm. So either he gets the fight anyway as an ANYWAY, right, against one of these guys that just pulled out, or he gets a fight anyway with the monster. You know what I mean? INOUE. You know what I mean? Like anyway, no matter what for Rigondeaux, for me, he's the oldest of the group. He's the one that needs to get a shot ASAP. Donaire's the only guy that ever stepped up, and I'll always praise Donaire for this. Like he's the only one that stepped up and gave Rigondeaux a shot when he didn't have to. Everyone else ducked him. Everyone else ducked this dude. Donaire stepped up and fought him. At the end of the day, he's the only one. And you could argue Loma, but Loma was like 2 weight classes above him. But you know, the little dude kept calling him out. What do you want Loma to do? You know, the little dude keeps calling you out to a fight. And at some point, you're going to turn around and slap him. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. But yes, to me, bro, the winner in all this is Rigondeaux. Let Rigondeaux fight Casimero. Rigondeaux don't give a fuck about any of this shit. He don't give a fuck about none of this VADA shit. He just wants to fight. Okay? As long as you give him a shot, he'll fight, bro. All right? Double payday for my dude. I want the Jackal to get a shot, man. That's what I want out of all this. Let's get Donaire, Rigondeaux too. Let's go. Rigondeaux doesn't have a problem with the VADA people. Whatever. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and let's make this clear. Casimero didn't say the stuff about the wife. It's I think his manager's name is Knucklehead Sean on Twitter or something like that. So he is a knucklehead, but it wasn't Casimero, it was the manager.
That's fair.
But this is why I don't like, it's what I can't stand about boxing. You have the business side of it already. You have the networks, you have the promoters, you have the different managers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then you throw the drug testing on top of it. It's almost like gang drug testing now. You got the VADA over here and the wearing the blue rags. You got USADA over here wearing the red rags. And then over there in the yellow rags, you got USADA. Then you got RUSADA. And then you got BADA and CADA, whatever it is, man. All these drug testing, you throw that on top of it, and this adds another obstacle to guys getting in the ring with each other. Like you said, they should have had this done when Rigo took the step-aside money. All right? So for me, regardless, you know me. I just want to see the best fight the best. So if we get Inoue versus Donaire now out of this, and then we got a nice semifinals, throw Rigo back in there with Casimero, and then the winners face each other, whoever they may be. Let them face each other, and we still get undisputed at 118. All right? So I hope we at least get this out of that. But it's just frustrating, all the obstacles we get in order to make the top fights. Come on, man. Just make the top fights. All right? If you're the manager, don't tell the guy's wife to S a D. All right? Just don't do that. It's not good business. It's not a good thing to tell a guy's wife. Don't tell her, whether she's the manager or not, don't tell her to S a D, man. It's stupid. It's just stupid. They deserve to hunt that guy down and just beat him down. That guy should lose the fight. That guy should step in the ring with Donaire now and lose the fight.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, that's unacceptable behavior. Like at the end of the day. And we all know that manager wouldn't say that in front of Donaire. So why are you even saying it then? You know? And I do have to say though, look, Casimero, I don't know if he did or he didn't, but Casimero needs to apologize on behalf of his team for that.
Right. True.
In my opinion.
True. No, you're right. You're right. I'm just
I didn't say it. Well, why should I apologize? Because he's part of your team, brother. That's why. Okay.
That's right. You're the head of the team. Yeah. You're the head of the team. Your name is on the head of the team. So apologize. Hit that like button as y'all come in. Hit the sub button. Hit the alert button. All that good stuff. Let's move on from this. Hopefully we get, like I said, a good conclusion from this. At least we get a nice semifinals at 118. Hopefully we get Inoue versus Donaire, and then Casimero versus. It was going to be a good fight, man. It's a winnable fight for Donaire. Donaire versus Casimero. All Filipino showdown. It was going to be nice. They had to go and mess it up. That's boxing for you. That's boxing.
They messed the whole thing up. Unbelievable.
But at least Rigo's back in the picture, right? Just get the step aside money and still get the fight. Has that ever happened in boxing, by the way? You get the step aside money and then you still get the fight. Nice.
Hey, that'll be beautiful. Like, and if I'm Rigondeaux, like, hey, Rigondeaux, I mean, maybe you could give us a step aside back. Like, nah, bro, like that's my money. You know what I mean? And you still got to pay me for the fight. So that would do.
Right.
Hey, like it's a transaction that everybody agreed to.
It's fair.
That transaction's done. If they redo the fight, that's just another fight. You know what I mean?
You know what'll likely happen though is all four guys will go on and face somebody else. That'd be boxing, right?
Bro, I want to see, bro. I swear to God, man. I want Rigondeaux to get a shot with Inoue, and I do believe Inoue would fight him. And I think Rigondeaux deserves that shot. You know what I mean? But if not, a rematch with Donaire. I mean, Donaire deserves a shot to. It's a good chance to redeem a loss, bro. You know.
That's right. Donaire Rigo too. That's another shot at redeeming a loss. But let's move on to the event of the weekend. Tank Davis versus Mario Barrios. Look, dude, I've been chomping at the bit. I went on vacation over the weekend. I just got back. I've been chomping at the bit to talk about this fight. I haven't had a chance yet. So here we go. Tank Davis versus Mario Barrios. I know you spoke about it. Just give me your quick thoughts on the fight. How did you see that fight playing out? How did you see it before? And then how did you see it after?
You know, the truth is, Calix, that if you remove all the bullshit from that Leonard Allerby said, when you put all that, the hype, I mean, we all know the champion of the division is Josh Taylor, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you just look at it from a different lens, if you look at it from two contenders in the division, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? Tank Davis moving up, a champion from 130, moving up to fight a top 10 contender, really what it is, you know, at 140. If you look at it from that, it's a good fight. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I felt it was a solid fight, just an overhyped fight. Right. That's how I saw it going in. The fight itself is a fight of your candidate, bro. Like anyone who keeps it real will know that. Like that was a hell of a fight. The Barrios starts. I mean, it's a thing right out of a movie, bro. Like
it had everything. This fight had everything.
Barrios is outboxing him early, and you know what? I'm not saying Barrios is this big monster puncher, but he's a solid puncher, and he's landing clean on Tank, and then Tank comes in the middle rounds, knocks him down twice in the same round. It looks like it's going to take him out, but Barrios survives, and then Barrios comes back, and we go from Barrios controlling the earlier rounds, Tank controlling the middle rounds, knocking him down. Then it gets competitive. It's back and forth with Tank getting the edge. The Barrios is still in there. And then finally the body shot drops him, and Barrios actually gets up. And they stop the fight. He was still trying to fight back. Good stoppage, by the way. He clearly couldn't really defend himself anymore. So, and with somebody like Tank, I don't know if you want to continue it while Barrios is covering his body, because that's leaving the head exposed. And I think it was a good stoppage, and Barrios didn't protest it. But nonetheless, like you just said, it had everything.
It had everything. I love how Barrios fought back in that 9th round. He came back from those 2 knockdowns. I actually thought he won the round. And then the 10th round was the round of the fight. That 10th round was excellent.
10th round could be the round of the year.
Yeah, and the 10th round, I thought the mistake, although it worked for him, Barrios went to the body, but you saw what happened right after that. Tank started going to the body as well. So it ended up backfiring on Barrios. And much like Chris Colbert said, Barrios didn't do a good job of buying time when he was hurt. He didn't do a good job of clinching when he had to, but that's what makes it a great fight, right? And that's what makes Barrios a fun fighter to watch in fights like this. Before the fight, I thought Tank would win by middle to late round stoppage. I said that in my prediction video. It ended up being later than I thought, 11th round. But I didn't think that Tank would have as much trouble cracking the code. I thought Tank was I thought they saw something coming in Barrios that they could clearly take advantage of, exploit. I thought they saw the Akhmadov fight where Barrios had trouble controlling distance. So the fact that Tank had some issues cracking the code makes me worry about him at 140 and staying and campaigning at 140, because you have some big guys in that division who can fight.
Let me just kind of say this. Yeah, you have guys like Mayweather that was good at like quick at boom, and they get the lock and they open and it's a wrap. You know what I mean? Like, or they crack the code, boom. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have guys that are good at that, right? That's not Tank. Tank's not there like trying to figure out the code. Tank has a sledgehammer and he's fucking banging on that shit until it cracks and he busts that shit open. You know what I mean?
Right.
Let me tell you what Tank is, bro. He's a bona fide puncher.
Yes.
That's what he is. He's not a boxer, not a boxer puncher. He's a puncher. That's what he is. That's what Tank is. And that's what makes him exciting. That, bro, I don't even know why is Floyd trying so hard to protect this dude? Nobody cares if they're still going to watch Tank. Even if a Tank loses, are you still going to watch him?
Yes.
I'm still going to. That dude can beat anybody in any night because of that power. And even if he loses, people will know that, right?
He's fun. He's entertaining.
He's fun to watch. Stop hiding him on obscure pay-per-views like this. That's going to make like 250, 300,000 buys, which is solid. I mean, it's good. It'll make money, but I would rather something like this be on there so all my casual friends could become fans of Tank and start following him and following the sport. But did you catch the combing, though? They were combing the hair of Mario Barrios so he could look fresh coming out to the ring after every round. I thought I was like, come on, brother. I haven't seen that shit. I want to see Barrios against Broner, bro. They're going to be combing both those dudes' hairs between rounds. And you know what? I'm going to say something controversial. Mario Barrios beats Broner right now.
Yeah, he would. I don't think that's controversial.
Well, Broner has a shot, though, right? Broner has a shot. It'll be a fun fight.
No, I don't think so, because Broner, he's not active enough in the ring. He's so inconsistent. And he can't even make 140.
Did you see Tank dancing in the corner like when he got the second knockdown? And like he's having fun out there, bro. And I think he thought Barrios was done, and Barrios came back and gave him some hell for the next couple of rounds, and I think that's what makes it fun. I don't even know why the Tank fans are getting so defensive. Like,
no,
he let him do that. Like, no, bro, that's what Tank is.
But that's what it is. It's you have to be black or white. You can't be in that gray area. And that's what we talked about off the air that I'm going to get into because I have a lot of criticisms of Tank that I'm about to get into. But before I do, I want to highlight the positives because there's positives too. But you can't, in this day and age, you can't be in the gray, right? You can't big up a guy and at the same time criticize him as well. We've gone to that place with everything. So, which is frustrating. But the first of all, while we're on the fresh on Floyd, he just can't be off. He just can't be off screen, right? Like, I don't know if you noticed this. Like, he's not supposed to be that close to the apron, giving him instructions. And I worry about it. I said the same thing about the Devin Haney fight late in the fight when he had two voices in his corner. I worry about it when Tank gets into a fight where he's really in deep water and he has two voices in his corner. He has the head trainer and then he has Floyd yelling at him from the ring apron. All right, that's number one. And then number two, Floyd just has to be like Floyd. He's got 27 gold chains on, and then he's purposely, strategically, after the fight, talking to Tank eye to eye. And Tank's like, dude, let me do my interview. But he's talking to him eye to eye with with all the cameras right there. He has to talk to him and give him a speech right before he goes on to speak to all the cameras. It's like, dude, just let him have a career.
Shades of Teddy Atlas. You know what I mean?
Shades of Teddy.
No, because
we're firemen, D-Style. We're firemen. We put out fires,
bro. Like everyone knows, like it's common knowledge, I would think anyway, that if you hurt a guy, you go to the body. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So Floyd tells him, hey, when you hurt him, go to the body. Like, so now when Tank goes, like, there's only two places to go, the head or the body. You know what I mean? It's not like MMA where he's telling him to go for a takedown rather than keep it. You know what I mean? In boxing, it's head or the body where you can hit a dude, right? So now Tank's been going to the body the whole. If he wants to fight, he was going to the body the whole fight. You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe he didn't dedicate as much to the body, but he was still going to the body. Like Tank's a really good body puncher, right? Yeah. So like now that you yell that out, right? So now Floyd's gonna get all the praise, because like the shit's it's so annoying, bro. Like I think that would have happened if even Floyd didn't say anything.
It would have.
But here's what my problem is: not like first of all, you're not whether you think it's effective or not. You're not supposed to have a fourth person there giving you advice or anything, right? You're not supposed to have three people. That's it, right? When your mouthpiece falls off, right? The ref tells no instructions, no instructions. Loose tape, they tell them no instructions, right? And you're only allowed to give instructions. You could do it during the fight. You could yell it out all you want. But as far as when it's coherent and they're there in the corner, only the trainer's supposed to do it. That's number one. Second, it is a little unfair that Floyd went to Tank and told him the unofficial scorecards got you behind, but no one said this to Mario Barrios, right? No one went to like if one fighter knows, like, you know what I mean? If we're going to have open scoring, whether official, unofficial, shouldn't both fighters know, right? Yes. Because Alex, if Mario Barrios knew that the unofficial scoring had him up like by 3 or 4 rounds, you don't think he could have maybe said to himself, you know what, I'll take a round off. I won't take many risks right now to get a second breath. You know what I mean? I'll come back stronger the round after that. Okay. So if you're going to relay information to one guy as the promoter of the event, you should relay it to the other guy. It may not sound like a big deal, and I don't think it's the biggest of deals, but that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, if you go by the book, it's not. It shouldn't be done, and it breaks all kind of ethical standards. But promoter of the fight shouldn't be in one corner saying these are what the unofficial scorecards are.
I mean,
even though the unofficial scorecards don't matter, it's like, come on, man. But just let the guy have his career, man.
Or how about this, Floyd?
What does Suge say? You didn't have to be all up in the video like he's Diddy. He's all up in the video, dude.
He's like right there, like, what's up? I'm here with Tank. Like, what did he do that in every dance? He would have his hand up here and shit when he would dance and shit. Like, you know what I mean? all up in the video. But yeah, so like, bro, like, what are you doing, bro? Like, he's like Dr. Dre early in Eminem's career. You have to be in every video. Like, you know what I mean? Like, stop, bro. All right.
And Bob Arum's on the other side. Like, if you want a promoter that's not all up in the corner, come over to Top Rank. Come over to Top Rank.
Look, I remember. Look. It's not the first time. I remember Chavez Senior used to do it with Junior. Like, he would yell shit out, and he would go up there, and you know what I mean. But but at least it's the same thing, really. So I don't want to say it's different. It's the same thing. But come on, bro. Like forget about the ethical side of it. What about how about the ethical side of it to Tank's or the respected Tank's trainers, the ones that been waking up in the morning, doing the road work, putting in the work that brought him up since he was young and put in the work, came up with the game plan and all that. Like, what are you doing, bro?
Right.
If you want to be a chief second or the head trainer, just do it then. You've done it before. Get that towel, Floyd, put it over your neck instead of the gold chains and go. You could tell Tank everything you want. You know what I mean?
But as far as the fight, man, I don't know how you had it scored. I don't know how the chat had it scored. Everybody can put their scorecards in there. Through 10 rounds, I had it 94-94. I thought that Tank gave up 5 of the first 6 rounds. So people can put in the chat how they had it scored through 10 rounds. I had it 94-94. By the way, hit that like button as y'all come in, introduce yourselves. But 94-94, I thought he gave up 5 of the first 6, and then he finally started to get it going. And when he got it going, man, it was a thing of beauty. But
94-94, bro.
But I just wonder if he starts off slow. I don't think he's going to campaign at 140 against the top guys at 140 because if he starts off slow against Josh Taylor, dude, if he starts off slow against Regis Prograis, if he starts off slow against, name any of the top guys at 140, Jose Ramirez, he's in for a world of hurt, man. He's not going to make up that time. So 94-94 versus the 8th or 9th best guy at 140 is troubling at 140 anyway. Because
if you stay at 140, right? I mean, if he stays there, but
if he stays there, which I doubt, because it shows that maybe his ceiling as far as weight is lower than we thought.
At least at the moment,
he has 140 power. There's no doubt about that, and I said that coming in. He has power going up to 140, but against Josh Taylor, against Regis Prograis, does he have that power? Does he catch those guys like that?
Bro, I don't think. Let me tell you something. I don't think Mario Barrios goes more than 6 rounds against Josh Taylor.
No, Prograis either. I don't think so.
I don't think he goes more than 4 rounds against Prograis.
Right. Those guys are killers, man. Jose Ramirez too. I mean, I know he just lost, but
the only thing I'll say about the Prograis fight, Prograis isn't that big. At least, like as a Prograis is a real 140 pounder. You know what I mean? That's what he is. He's not like a really big guy that's killing himself to make the weight. Like he is that weight. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I don't think it'll be a size issue with Tank there, but the power though that Prograis packs. I mean, look, Ramirez hit Taylor with some nice hooks and even wobbled him, I think, in the 3rd or something like that for a second. But he didn't have him looking the way Prograis did. Right? Prograis had him like all swollen up, Yeah. So hey, by the way, Floyd, Tank, remember the first time Floyd called him like Tank, and they were like this, and Tank was like, what? It reminded me of that meme or that video on Instagram with the 2 dogs and shit.
Right.
What?
What's your name?
What's your name? What? What's your name?
He's yelling at him.
You see that fire over there? What? I fucked your mother over there. Fuck you.
It's like that. But look, dude, there's a lot of things. I'm going to talk about the positives first because I'm not through with the Tank talk, because there's a lot to unpack here. I love the fight. Thought it was a fight of the year candidate as well. I thought Tank did a great job of showing poise, not panicking, although down on the scorecards, and starting to tactically take this guy apart through round 7 through 11. When Barrios started to go to the body, I thought that was beautiful. Tank went right back to Barrios' body and said, no, man, this is my show. This is my show. And he stopped him in the 11th round. This guy is fun. He's entertaining. He's doing backflips off the top rope, which is not smart, by the way, but he's doing backflips off the top rope. That was super impressive as well.
I thought it was Rey Mysterio out there. Whoa.
Yeah, but I mean, there are positives with this guy, like entertaining. He's powerful. Like, I love that about him. This show is called Power Punchers for a reason. We both love power punchers. We both love knockouts. 24 knockouts and 25 wins. This guy doesn't go in there to Shakur Stevenson, like to coast over 12 rounds. All right. Shakur Stevenson should have had Nakathila out of there around 4 or 5. He coasted. Right. All right. He was fine with it. Tank Davis isn't playing with his food. Tank Davis is there to get guys out of there. All right. Tank Davis wants to take guys' heads off. I love that about Tank. He said, my hands are hurting after the fight. I love that about the dude. Skilled. He has some skills in order to set up these punches. He sells tickets in Atlanta. I think like 14,000, whatever it was, showed up. So the guy can sell tickets as well. He's not a pay-per-view star yet. May get there, but he can sell tickets. So the guy has all that going for him. Here's the negatives. There's one box he doesn't check, D-Style. What's that? The resume.
And that's the biggest box.
And that's the biggest box because we can't tell if all these things that we're seeing are verified. They're not verified yet.
Plus, you got to do it, right? I mean, do you remember like for example, who do you think is the best football team right now, right, in football, in the NFL? Going into the next season?
Tampa Bay.
Okay, Tampa Bay, right? Mm-hmm. Imagine just saying, but we don't got to go through the playoffs and they're the best. That's it. They can play wherever they want.
Right.
Like only in boxing do fans find that like acceptable. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of his fans, bro. And this is true with all fanboys, okay? But they don't like the feeling we like as boxing. I like that feeling before a fight where you're not sure who's going to win. You get those butterflies. Like, oh shit, the moment's here. You know what I mean? And then you're waiting for the bell to ring. You're like, holy shit, But like fanboys don't like that feeling. They like to go in confident because they feel they're like cheerleaders. They're like, yes, go me, yeah. They're cheerleaders, bro. Like they don't want their favorite fighter going to a 50-50 because they hate that feeling that they might lose. It's me. I want that feeling in sports. I want that nervous energy. I want those butterflies.
Yes.
That's what it's all about. That's what makes the sport great. But fanboys don't want that. They want to feel comfortable. They want to, they want Tank to go out there and make it look easy and like, oh, he'll beat Teofimo and Lomachenko anyway. We don't have to see that. Okay, well, that's not the way it works. He has to actually do it.
Yeah, and I'm naturally drawn to elite fighters who are vulnerable, right? They have vulnerabilities like Cotto. Cotto is one of my favorite fighters. I didn't know how Cotto Margarito 2 was going to go. I had those butterflies. Cotto was a vulnerable fighter multiple times in his career. He had like 10 fights where I didn't know if he was going to win this fight going in. And De La Hoya, same thing. De La Hoya had multiple fights, like 10, 11 fights where he went in there with his top peers, went in the ring with those guys, many of them in their primes. And you didn't know going in if De La Hoya was going to come out of this. De La Hoya was going to make mistakes late in the fight. Those were the vulnerabilities. And he went in there even with those vulnerabilities and fought top competition. I'm drawn to fighters like that. That's the only thing holding me back from being a Tank Davis fight because he checks all the other boxes for me. He shows vulnerable. He showed it in the Barrios fight, losing 5 of the first 6 rounds on my scorecard. That's vulnerability. Having trouble cracking the code, stepping up at 140. He's entertaining. He wants to get guys out of there. The only box he doesn't check is the most important one, the resume. What are they hiding? You can tell everything you need to know about a fighter by how his handlers handle him. And the fact that his handlers are holding him back. Either they don't know what they're doing or
they know what they're doing.
Or there's something wrong there that we're not seeing that maybe they see in sparring sessions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, dude, I'm going to name the top 5, the top 10 fighters in each division that he's campaigning at. So supposedly campaigning at. All right. 140, Josh Taylor. Didn't fight him. Number 2, Regis Prograis. Didn't fight him. Jose Ramirez, number 3. Didn't fight him yet. Zepeda, number 5, didn't fight him yet. Postol, didn't fight him yet. Baranchik, didn't fight him yet. So he finally, when you get to number 8, he's fought Barrios. That's number 8 at 140. He fought him. All right. He also fought Pedraza, who is right now number 9 at the rankings I was looking at 140. But he fought Pedraza at 130. So you get
also
Pedraza,
4 years ago.
Right. But Pedraza was a top guy. It was a legitimate win for him at 130. That's just one legitimate
Let me ask you this,
right
Alex. Look, let's go line by line.
Okay.
Has Tank Davis ever beat, and Chad included, you guys let me know, has Tank Davis ever beating a number 1 guy in any division he's campaigned at?
And that's why I'm reading off the list, D-Style.
Let's go line by line so it hits home for the Tank fans, right? So the answer is no.
The answer is no.
Okay. Has Tank Davis ever beating a number 2 guy in any of the divisions he's campaigned at?
Okay, I'll name the 3 number 1s: Josh Taylor, Teofimo Lopez, Oscar Valdez. Hasn't beaten those guys. Regis Prograis.
Here's the thing: that those are the number 1s now. Let me do a quick fast forward for it. The answer is no. He's never faced a number 1 guy at any point of his career because they shuffled around, right?
Right.
From the time they've been shuffling around, he's never faced a number 1 guy ever, right? He's never faced a number 2 guy ever in his career, ever. He's never faced a number 3 guy in his entire career, ever. A guy you could say he's a 3rd best in the division, ever. Pedraza's the only one you could argue was 4 or 5, and that's 1 guy. That's it. That in his entire career, Canelo was already his age when he was fighting Triple G, and he had already fought the best at 154. Right? Multiple guys. So the fact that Tank Davis is being considered pound for pound for some people, to me, is blasphemy.
Absurd. It's absurd. But this is how these guys get away with this. And more on that in a minute, but I want to elaborate on this point is top 10. He has currently 3 wins against top 10 opponents in all 3 of those weight classes we just mentioned: Barrios, Pedraza, and Santa Cruz. And none of those guys are currently in the top 5 in any of those weight classes. So he has 0 wins, and he's 8 years into his career, D-Style. This isn't a guy 3 or 4 years in. Erickson Lubin was fighting Charlo is 3 or 4 years in. All right. This guy's 8 years into his career. We're treating him like he's a guy 3 or 4 years in. He's 8 years in. And he right now is campaigning in 3 weight classes and has 0 fights with the top 15. You 15 guys in those weight classes in the top 5. 0 fights with any of those guys. 0. And 0 talks of fights with those guys. They can say on Twitter, "Oh, we tried to make a fight with Ryan Gar. We tried to make a fight with these guys." We know what they're trying to do. Why is the question?
Why is the question? That's what we got to think about. Let me do you one better, Calix. Let me do you one better right now.
Okay.
Remember when Sergio Martinez was the man at 160 pounds? He was the middleweight champion of the world.
Right.
And everyone was saying Chavez Jr. is trying to step up, trying to fight somebody, blah, 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 blah. Chavez Jr. was 26 years old.
Right.
26. What was Tank doing at 26? Fighting Gamboa? An old, washed-up Gamboa?
Yeah. I think he's 26 right now, so he's fighting Mario Barrios. But the fact that he's 8 years in and Mario Barrios is a step-up fight is troubling. It's troubling to me. And it's frustrating to me as a boxing fan because I want to go all in on this guy. I want to go all in, man. Like, I want to say I'm a Tank Davis fan. Right? Like, I want to say that. I'm a Tank Davis fan.
I'm a fan because it's exciting to watch. I'm a fan.
But shouldn't you be fans of guys who at least fight top competition?
I think
it depends on how they promote them, right? If they would promote Tank Davis, I said this about Adrian Broner in videos 5-6 years ago. Like, if y'all would just promote Broner honestly and say Broner's an exciting fighter. He's just an exciting fighter. He's a fun fighter. I'm all in. But the fact that you're promoting Broner as a 18 division titleist and 18 division champion and pound for pound talent, no, I'm out. I'm out. I can't handle the false advertisement. And I can't handle the false advertisement of Tank Davis right now. It makes everything to me get canceled out. Like I love the fun fights. I love it all, but fight somebody.
I mean, I'll be honest, bro. Like, wouldn't you consider Morris Hooker a better 140 pounder than Mario Barrios?
Yes.
And
just watch the Virgil Ortiz fight. Watch the Ortiz fight.
He just fought Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz is a prospect.
Mm-hmm.
Virgil Ortiz he beat up Mauricio Herrera, Orozco. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these sort of guys who are top contenders. Like, I mean, granted, those guys have to move up one weight class, but I just think it's smoke and mirrors. Like, to me, it's like it's a good, solid win, but they're trying to turn it into something historic. It really isn't something historic what Tank did. You know, I wouldn't use the word historic. I wouldn't use epic. In that case, you got to call what. So what about when Canelo moved up to fight Rocky Fielding? Mm-hmm. What about when he went up to fight Kovalev? The Kovalev win, I think, was way more impressive than the Mario Barrios win. Oh, yeah. Right? Now we're going to talk about it anyway, but
Kovalev's still currently ranked number 3 at 175 behind Beater Beef and Bibble. So,
yeah.
I mean, not the deep division that maybe 140 is, but I don't know, man. I just need to see this guy step up. I need to see him step up. Like, at what point, the frustrating part for me too is the boxing writers, the boxing journalists who put this guy. The reason they get away with this is they start to talk about pound for pound. Like, they start to actually put this guy top 10 pound for pound in the pound for pound rankings.
Right.
The fans are just frustrating. You have a lot of casual / hardcores that put this guy top 10 pound. So this is the reason they can get away with this stuff. And that's what I always yell about on this channel is the main thing I get frustrated about is you let guys off the hook. You let them get away with this stuff. And as boxing fans, you should be demanding more. We become the battered wives. The husband keeps coming home
So let me reword what I meant to say. So I'm a fan of watching a Tank Davis fight because it's exciting to watch.
Oh yeah,
but I'm definitely not a fan of the way his career is being handled. And we cannot just narrow it down to one fight, right? If Tank Davis had been fighting like top level opposition and then he moved up to fight Mario Barrios as an extra, just kind of like Rocky Fielding's an extra to Canelo. Like it's something extra he did. Kovalev is just something extra he did. Like it's not even the main course of his career, just extra stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's fine. Like look, Pernell Whitaker moved up to 154, right? To beat a 154. It was just an extra thing he did to show people how great he was. But it's not the only thing he did, though. Like it wasn't like he was avoiding all the best competition and moved up to 154 to show he's great. No, he fought Chavez. He fought the best. Like he even fought a Prime De La Hoya, and many opinions beat him. You know, like this is a guy who fought the best from 135, 140, 147. He was considered the best pound for pound. Him going to 154 was just something extra that he did, just to remind people how great he is. Like. The extra doesn't really matter if you're not doing the main core stuff, you know? And that's what Tank hasn't done yet. He's done the moonsault over all the best competition in all of the weight classes, brother. He moonsaulted.
That's exactly right. And for me, Tank Davis, he needs to check that last box. And I'll say I'm a Tank Davis fan, but he needs to check that last box. He has to get the resume together because moving up to 140 to fight Barrios in a fun fight is fun, but it's not special. It's fun. All right. I like it. You like it. I like the fact that we can watch the fight and have fun and have a beer, crack open a beer, but it's not special. All right. It doesn't get you in the top 10 pound for pound. So if you market it that way, fine. He's a fun fighter. I get it. But marketing him as the champion at 140 when Josh Taylor has all the belts that matter at 140. No, you're not getting away with that. No, you're not getting away with that. He's not a champion. He's a belt holder. He's a 3-division belt holder. He's a 1-division champion, 3-division belt holder is what he is. All right. He's not a top 10 pound for pound guy. He has to beat somebody in order to do that. He's a fun fighter. He's entertaining. We like the fact that 24 knockouts and 25 fights. We like the entertainment. We like the fact that he can draw. He's got all that going for him, but fight somebody. Fight somebody. All right. 130, 135, 140, all combined. You have 3 wins against guys in the top 10. 3. Trace.
Yeah.
In 8 years. All right. And currently, the highest guy is ranked number 6 at 130, and that's Leo Santa Cruz. Come on, man. You don't have any wins against any guys in the top 5 in any of those weight classes. All right? If y'all want to crown them, crown them. What Denny Green say? You want to crown them, crown their asses. But I'm not crowning them. I'm not crowning him. He's got to show me he can beat somebody.
Don't let him off the hook. Don't let him off the hook.
Show us that you can beat somebody with the pulse. That's all we want. That's all we want, man.
You know what? You know what though? Like I remember, like Tank. They asked him, "Hey, well, what you do when Floyd like told you like that you were behind?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, well, I said to myself, I'm gonna show you how great I am." Like, brother, like you're doing it against Mario Barrios, bro. Like who's a good fighter again. If it was just an extra, that's what it is. I get it. You know what I mean? But brother, you don't show us how great you are with the extra. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
Right. And you see, these comments here are fair. They're fair comments because Teofimo versus Tank, good fight. Taylor versus Tank, good fight. But this is what they do. This is what the fighters do by ducking the competition is they put us in these battles with each other as boxing fans. Oh, this guy.
What did people say about?
But we never get the fights.
Yeah, but what happened when? But Kelly, what happened when? Who was the major favorite here on YouTube when Broner was going to fight Maidana? Who was the major favorite by far?
Broner.
Oh, Broner should have beat him. It's easy work and piece of cake. Well, what happened in the fight? You know what I mean? Like, and then all of a sudden he was just a little itty bitty little Broner. I'm like, oh, he was just so little. He's too little for 147. That you know that's what Tank fans were going to say if he lost to Barrios. Oh, well, he's just too little for the weight class. We're going to move him back down. That, like you know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, you know
Mosley, Vernon Forrest. There's another one. Styles make fights, and the more you get in there with your top peers, the more you're exposed to tough styles with elite opposition. And that's all we're saying is you can't keep. It's harder for you to keep that when you're fighting top opposition with all kind of different styles that you have to master. You have to crack those codes. And right now, Tank isn't even. He's not even pretending to try to do that. Exactly. And that's where we're at. Otherwise, he looks great. Looks great. Passes the eye test with flying colors, but we need to see it, man. We need to see it. And that's where we're at with Tank. Hit that like button as y'all come in. One last topic. Canelo.
I mean, the Patriots 2007 passed the eye test with flying colors like a motherfucker. But they didn't win the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? They could have just canceled the Super Bowl and said, man, we know what the best team is. Well, why even play the game? You know what I mean? Like, but what happened when they played the game?
Yes.
All right.
Eli Manning happened in the fourth quarter.
It happens. You know, Duke caught the ball with a fucking helmet and shit, like all this crazy shit. Well, you never know. Somebody might catch some crazy punch on Tank and knock him out. You never know, right?
There it is. We don't know. We don't know about his
chin. Plus, a lot of you like you know how people say like, oh, it's a good thing he's got Floyd there because Floyd's got that eye. You know what I mean? Floyd could help Tank out while that eye can also see Lomachenko, and he kept him away from Lomachenko. Why do you think that is? Why do you think he said, oh, we're not in a rush to fight Lomachenko right now? You know what I mean?
And that's what Mario Barrios was about. We got a title holder at 140. This wasn't about doing something special in the third division. It's like we got a guy at 140 who we feel like we can pick apart and we can stay away from the top guys at 135, which is a Shark Tank right now. And he won some fake belts down at 135. We're going to stay away from there a little longer, and we're going to go test ourselves in the waters at 140, and there's going to be a BS mandatory probably, and that's where we're going to be at with Tank for a while.
That's 100. That's 100.
That's 100. I hear the fax machine going off. But Canelo's next fight is hopefully going to be Caleb Plant. But I heard Eddie Reynoso do an interview in Spanish yesterday saying that, and I want to know what you think about this because we've discussed this. 175. Better Beaver Bivol. He could possibly fight either one of those guys, possibly both in 2022. What do you think about that? Is 175 too far north for Canelo?
No, it's not. And I'll tell you why. I think right now, as good as he looks at 168, I think he showed and how good he looked against Kovalev, who is a top 5 guy. I think that shows me that he could definitely campaign at that weight class. But there's no rush, though. I think Canelo, he's in his early 30s right now. I think he should naturally kind of grow into the division a little bit before he campaigns in it. I do think it's a mistake to do it late this year or next year. 2023 maybe, but it's too soon, in my opinion, because there's a lot of – we got Morel, we got Benavides, we got Charlo who can move up. You got too many guys you can fight in your weight class to be in a rush to move up to fight these dangerous Russians, brother. It's my opinion.
Yeah, and right now we're looking past Caleb Plant, but let's not look past. Look, I think Caleb Plant's going to be tougher than people expect. Even though his last fight, he looked awful. He looked awful and he was boring. But, dude, I think he's a tougher fight than Billy Joe Saunders was. I think he's a tougher fight, man. I'm just throwing that out there. But let's say he gets past Plant. Okay. I would still love for Caleb. I've said it for a while now. Canelo fits in perfectly at 168. 168, I think if he campaigns there for 2-3 years, he can go down as the greatest super middleweight of all time if he stays there and continues to win. But they have guys that can move up from 160. Charlo is one of them. Errol Spence is talking about coming all the way up to 160 to face Canelo at sort
147 or 160. Yeah, 147.
And Canelo seems open to that as well. So there are fights there underneath 175 for Canelo. You mentioned Benavidez as well. Benavidez is a tough style. And could give Canelo some issues as well. So
plus, he's a big, I think Canelo needs to fight some of these big 168 pounders to get him ready for 175. That's what I think he should do, Because Smith was big he probably weighs just as much as a lot of these light heavyweights on fight night. He may have been on the scale 168, but that's a big motherfucker. You know what I mean? So on fight night, he probably weighs the same as most of these 175 pounders. So Billy Joe, not so much. Billy Joe's not that big of a 168 pounder. But to me, I think Canelo, he has some unfinished business. But let me just say this. If Canelo does move up, fights better beef. I mean, nothing but props. You know what I mean? I think that's nothing but props.
That's nothing being aggressive with your career. Yeah, that's being aggressive with your career. And I said it though. If I think if Canelo loses a fight, it's going to be him taking on too much weight, him moving up to 175. However, I think he's a guy fit for moving up in weight because I think he fights better against taller fighters. Going down to the body, he works his way into the inside very well. So I think he fits in well at 175. I think he does as he moves up in weight. However, do you think that they're possibly trying to make sort of a fight with Zurdo Ramirez, who has been lingering there, 41-0, 27 knockouts, all Mexican showdown at 175 eventually?
I mean, that's a fight they could make, but nobody knows who Zurdo Ramirez is, outside of hardcore boxing fans.
Did the Mexican fans really take to him like that?
Not really. I mean, I'm sure they know about him, but I mean, is it really the fight for him to move up for? Right. I just don't want Canelo to get caught yo-yoing. I'm going to go to 160 to fight Spence. Oh, I'm going to go fight Better Beef. Oh, let me come back over here and fight Benavidez. That's a little dangerous.
Plant your feet at 168 and let everybody come to you is what I think the strategy should be. It's the same thing I say with Tank. I think Tank should plant his feet somewhere, whether it be 130, 135, 140. I think it should be 135 and say, this is my division. I'm going to clean it out. That's what I like to see Tank do. But Tank right now is sort of a chameleon. 130, 135, 140. I can sort of pick off little belts here and there. And you can't really call me out because I'm not really in the division.
If Spence beats Pacquiao, right, which I don't think is a guarantee a lot of people make it out to be. I don't.
Right.
You know what I mean? I rewatched the Porter fight yesterday, bro.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say. And that was before the car crash. But and I don't know if the Danny Garcia's went as impressive because I also watched the Mauricio Herrera fight with Danny Garcia.
Yeah.
Okay. But with that said, let's say he does get past Pacquiao one way or another. I mean, Spence Canelo, like, that is guaranteed over 1 million buys, easy, big money fight. You know, and now you can never count a fighter out, but I think Canelo would be a huge favorite. Okay. All right. Just got to say that. Like, I wouldn't count Spence out, but I think Canelo would be a huge favorite.
Right.
I mean, why would he go up and wait, fight fucking Beterbiev, right? Who hits like a Mack fucking truck, right? like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a dangerous fight. It's nowhere near as big. So Canelo has options. Not only that, just picture this, Calix. Picture Canelo walking into the ring, you know, and he looks around, and there is across the ring David Benavidez, and you see a bunch of red flags being waved around like in the crowd, and it's about to go down. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's a big fight right there. I think that's a fight that they could do, right? So Caleb Plant for undisputed sells itself. Okay. I think that's a fight where you will see a lot of, remember the Kelly Pavlik fans will travel like from Youngstown to, I think a lot of Caleb Plant fans will travel. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? I think that will be an electric atmosphere. There's too many bigger fights in terms of like monetarily, in my opinion, than a dangerous motherfucker like Beterbiev. I'm just saying. There's just too many fights that will make him more money and are not as dangerous physically and taxing to his body. I just don't think the fight will happen. And if it does, there's no doubt in my mind this motherfucker cares more about legacy than money or anything else. So,
yeah, as my boy Real Spitz would say, that would be a savage power move if he moves up to 175 and takes on the top dog. Tough fight. But real quick, you don't think Caleb Plant has any shot against Canelo?
Look, I'll give him about a 25% chance to beat Canelo. Like, 25. Which, if you're a gambler, you know that's a solid chance. You know what I mean? Fair. But I just don't believe he would win. One, you have to ask yourself, would he win a decision?
Got to win about 8 rounds, right?
You know, maybe, you know, or at least 7 really solid, clear-cut rounds. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then, you know, I don't know if Plant is ready for that, bro. Like, Canelo's a special fighter. Like, this guy we watched his whole career, and every time we think he's peaked, and wherever we thought he peaked, he was still really, really good, right? He's shown us that he could be that much better, you know? I mean, this guy he just keeps raising the level, and he's a true student of the game. He doesn't
even so much D-style that people even claim that they're fixing fights for him right now. I've heard that they fixed the Kovalev fight. They fixed the Billy Joe Saunders fight. You know you're special when they're saying they're fixing fights for you.
Look, he's doing his thing, but at the end of the day, like this guy, his vice, his obsession, right? What he's addicted to is the boxing gym. Mm-hmm. That's what he's addicted to, bro. He's not addicted to drugs and cocaine and beer and going out at night. He looks happily married. He ain't out there to sip it with a new girl every night. Like, this dude is like, you know what I mean? And the fact that he got married tells me that his wife knows that that's what he does and just leaves him alone, you know? So like, this is a guy that he's obsessed. He's obsessed with it, bro. Okay, he's got murals in his pad of Sugar Ray Robinson and shit. Okay, like, this guy watches film of old fights, bro. Like he studies the sport. Like, people don't realize that. He's obsessed with the sport, bro. His obsession is boxing. It's not all these other things, you know. Canelo's not out. When have you heard some scandal about Canelo? Well, there's been one when he supposedly beat up some featherweight in Mexico, but that's about it. What else have you heard about the guy? I haven't heard anything about the dude, bro. There's no rumors that he left.
Sort of like LeBron, right? LeBron, you don't hear anything about him getting in trouble outside of the gym.
He didn't even have a fight set, and it's just supposed to be a video of Andy Ruiz training, and you see Canelo like in the ring shadow boxing and shit. Like, I'm like, this dude, and he's got all the money in the world, Calix. Like, this dude has money. He's got businesses in Mexico. He makes $2 million a month every month.
He's got the Chavez Senior stamp of approval too.
Bro, he makes $2 million a month off of his gas stations in Mexico alone. $2 million a month. Like, this dude don't need money like that. You know what I mean? But he's doing it because he loves the sport. Dude, this is the best A side the sport's ever seen. Mayweather didn't pay dudes $14 million like he paid fucking Kovalev. Okay? Caleb Plant might make $10 million. Mayweather wasn't paying dudes like that.
Billy Joe made 8 to 9.
8 to 9 million. That's crazy. Why? Because he wants to get him in the ring. Mm-hmm. Once he cut off De La Hoya's 30% and he got that shit out of the way, he was like, you know what? I'm flexible now. Let's make these fights happen. And he's made them happen. Okay? Well, when have you heard of a dude being off for like over a year, litigation, and it's like, hey, I need an opponent. Hey, you want to fight me? You're the world champion. Let's do it. And Smith. And props to Smith for stepping up, which he did. But that was his coming back from like 18 months out fight, you know, or 12 months, whatever it was.
Yeah. All great points. Now we're to the end, D-Style. Final round. Give me your final round knockout. This is a segment. Give me a minute or two, man. Give me your rant or your opinion of the week that you want to hit home with.
Bam! Perspective, ladies and gentlemen. The word of the day. And in the Bible, it says that there's 4 corners of the earth, right? That's what it says in the Bible. I'm not a Bible scholar, but that's what it says. You know what I mean? So go to every 4th corner. I want every 4th corner of the earth to hear me out. Right? Perspective. Okay? They were comparing Tank Davis to Henry Armstrong. Because he won in 3 divisions, right? Now, let's leave aside that even if Tank beat the man at 130, which he hasn't, if he did beat the man at 135, which he has not, if he beat the man at 140, which he has not, okay, even then, it wouldn't compare to what Armstrong did. Armstrong was the featherweight champion of the world. Armstrong was the lightweight champion of the world. Armstrong was the welterweight champion of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, that's like Gary Russell being the best at 126 and then going up in weight, beating the best at 135. Like, imagine that Gary Russell moved up and beat Teofimo. Imagine he moved up and he beat Errol Spence. If Gary Russell did all that, that's what Armstrong did. Perspective. That is the word of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Perspective. They could throw numbers all they want, but don't look at the numbers. Look into the numbers. And not only that, he was robbed of a middleweight fight, or he would have been champion in 4. Henry Armstrong held 3 of the belts in weight classes when there was only 8, and one of them was vacant. There was only 7 world champions. There was only 7 weight classes at the time, and he had almost half of all the titles in the planet. Perspective.
I hear the fax machine. That's the fax machine going off right now. That's 100. You just made me almost church faint. That's a knockout right there. That's a knockout opinion. And I challenge all the YouTube channels out there who are watching, start giving these guys history lessons, man, even though they don't want to see it. All right. I'm going to start doing that, dropping the history lesson videos on boxing. That way they have perspective on when we had less weight classes, less titles, less championships, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Guys fighting 10 times a year. Now we have guys fighting once or twice a year. Tougher competition. We need that. We need more of that in the YTBC, and I think we're going to start getting that. Very frustrating to watch that. And Santiago Media says it right here. Facts, man. That's the fax machine right there. Mine is a little nicer, but I don't want to see. Look, man, Donaire versus Casimero. It's frustrating. Very frustrating that fight fell apart. Very frustrating. Hopefully we get the semifinals that I hope we get Inoue versus Donaire, Casimero versus Rigo out of this at least. But look, man, stop talking about guys' wives. Just stop. If you're a fight manager, part of a promotion team, just don't talk about guys' wives. It's already It's already tough enough getting guys in the ring with each other. If you're a manager, promoter, don't talk about guys' wives. All right? Just don't do it. All right, off limits. Even though she's the manager. And if you're Donaire, look, man, still do the fight. Still give us the fight. Come on. Be thick-skinned. If you're the manager, be thick-skinned. I understand it's below the belt. It's off limits. But come on, man. This fight should have happened. Should have happened. Should have happened. And not only that, man, I'll say this as well. More Sunday shows in boxing. That show did well. That show did great. Live audience. 1.4, 2 million, whatever it was, man. Either way, great audience for two guys who aren't household names. So give us more Sunday shows in between February and August when the NFL isn't playing. All right. So give us that as well. That's my final knockouts, man. And catch us. What are we doing tomorrow night, D-Style? Let them know.
A round table, ladies and gentlemen. D-Style Boxing Live. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, it's right here, D-Style Boxing. It's on YouTube. Subscribe. And also, if you're listening right now to Power Punches, we got 20 people on right now, right? Mm-hmm. Make sure you're subscribed, but also make sure that bell button is hit, and make sure you hit that straight right. You make sure it's on all, that we get all notifications when Calix Boxing comes on live, and especially us here at Power Punches every Wednesday. This is where it's at right here.
All right, and catch it in the archives. If you didn't catch it live, hit us up with the comments below, and also catch that overtime tomorrow with our guy right here, Maestro A Boxing as well. Great lineup tomorrow night, so hit us up on the HCP network, man. We are out. God bless. Y'all be good. Peace. Happy hump day.